Park Street was originally named Badam Talla. The road was officially constructed in 1762. It received the name Burial Ground Road just after the opening of the South Park Street Burial Ground on August 25, 1767. Before that, the road was known as Goristan Ka Rasta. Other names by which the road was once known are Vansittart Avenue and Almond Street. It has recently been renamed Mother Teresa Shoroni by the Kolkata Municipal Corporation after Mother Teresa. Park Street has several notable buildings such as the Asiatic Society, St. Xavier's College, a Seventh-day Adventist church, and the South Park Street Cemetery. A visit to Kolkata is deemed incomplete without a visit to Park Street. South Park Street Cemetery is an old colonial cemetery that opened in 1767 and is an oasis of calm in the center of Kolkata. Tranquil and quiet, but for the squawking crows on tall mossy gravestones, it is one of the oldest Christian burial grounds in the city. The earliest grave dates to 1768 and the last memorial was erected in 1790. Death in those days was the chief occupational hazard for the foreign community. Tropical illnesses and childbirth were the main causes. Battle wounds for soldiers and shipwrecks for mariners. Strangely, a surprising number were recorded as having been struck by lightning. They lived at the mercy of the inhospitable climate and the environment, and all too often passed away when they and Calcutta were still young. The shocking feature which strikes one from a tour of the grounds is the number of infant and children who lived no more than a few years. Henry Louis Vivian de Rosio was a fiery Indian teacher and poet. As a lecturer at the Hindu College of Calcutta, he invigorated a large group of students to think independently. This young Bengal group played a key role in the Bengal Renaissance. De Rosio was generally considered an Anglo-Indian, being of mixed Portuguese descent, but he was fired by a patriotic spirit for his native Bengal and considered himself Indian. He left a rich heritage of poetry that inspired future generations and left a permanent impact on the social outlook of the Bengali Hindu community. Inspired by the scenic beauty of the banks of the river Ganges, de Rosio started writing poetry. Some of these were published in Dr. Grant's India Gazette. His critical review of a book by Immanuel Kant attracted the attention of the intelligentsia.
Begin with certainties, end with doubts. A Baconian principle that the Eurasian or Anglo-Indian Henry de Rosio apparently adopted himself and disseminated amongst his students in the Hindu College, now Presidency College, with far-reaching effects that survive to this day. For de Rosio, an open letter from the Christian Burial Board after 200 years on the bicentenary of his birth. Dear Henry, we take the liberty of calling you by your first name, for you are our very own, like a very dear son. And we remember you with joy as we recall your birthday 200 years ago in that old house in Entali's Poddupukur, on the 18th day of April in the year of our Lord 1809. Though you lived a mere 22 years, what a brilliant innings it was that you played. You were a patriot, born and bred in this country and proud to be an Indian, at a time when most others like you had their hearts and minds overseas. You opposed dogmatism, you questioned and you rebelled at a time when the right of free speech was hardly recognized. You were a poet of no mean standing. You were a brilliant teacher of such zeal and enthusiasm that your lectures drew students from all over Hindu College. Above all, you were an idealist, an admirer of English radicalism and of the French revolutionary principle of liberty, equality and fraternity. May Henry Derosio's spirit live on forever. May God bless the country you so loved. Amen.
With surma tinge, the black eyes fringe, 'twill sparkle like a star. With roses dress each raven tress, my only loved Dildar. Dildar, there's many a valued pearl in richest Oman's sea, but none, my fair Kashmirian girl, oh none can rival thee. The cemetery contains burials prior to 1890. This old cemetery replaced St. John's churchyard in the ruins of the old fort in which the founder of Kolkata, Job Chanak, and his successors are buried. This area was later named Park Street from the private deer park built by Sir Elijah Impey. He was a British judge and at one time Chief Justice of Bengal. Silence is golden. With every footstep along the less treaded green grass of South Park Street Cemetery, one discovers on headstones names that inspired mortal souls to pen works of labour. In full bloom, branches still hang low over the tombs of the forgotten. Here is an interesting tomb, that of Major General Charles Stuart, an eccentric Irishman who was nicknamed Hindu Stuart after he became a Hindu within a year of his arrival in Calcutta. Stuart adopted several Hindu customs, including that of bathing in the Ganges every morning, the habit of chewing pan, and wearing Indian clothes.
The South Park Street Cemetery is a splendid example of the eclectic tastes of Britishers and other Eurasians who were at the helm of affairs in India in the 18th and 19th centuries. The grounds, measuring some 27 bighas, are enclosed by a high brick wall. Within this we find an array of about 1600 tombs with cenotaphs, tablets and epitaphs, surrounded by a picturesque landscape of tall shady trees, bushes and plants of many varieties. The tombs, raised on a brick plinth, are mostly of a square, rectangular or circular structure, capped by a domical roof and fronted by Corinthian or Ionian columns that support an entablature contained within the pediment. Besides, there are other types of monuments, including obelisks, cairns, carved stone urns resting on fluted columns, and the most beautiful, sarcophagi. We discern an admixture of the Gothic and a rich flavor of the Indo-Saracenic style. Of the latter, mention may be made of a unique and composite brick structure built in the Ponchoyantano manner with a central dome flanked by miniature replicas of Orissan Rekhadeul on 4 sides. Coupled with this peculiarity, the black basalt carvings on the frontal facade indicate a distinct respect for the Hindu faith. We are talking about the grave of Hindu Stuart.
Talking of important personalities, we now come to the tomb of Sir William Jones, an English philologist and a student of ancient India, particularly known for his proposition of the existence of a relationship among Indo-European languages. He was also the founder of the Asiatic Society. Of all his discoveries, Jones is best known today for making and propagating the observation that Sanskrit bore a certain resemblance to the classical Greek and Latin. In the Sanskrit language, written in 1786, he suggested that all 3 languages had a common root and that they may all be further related in turn to Gothic and the Celtic languages as well as to Persian. His 3rd annual discourse before the Asiatic Society on the history and culture of the Hindus, delivered on 2nd February 1786 and published in 1788, with the famed philologer passage, is often cited as the beginning of comparative linguistics and Indo-European studies. In 1783, he was knighted and sailed for Calcutta as judge of the Supreme Court. In 1784, he founded the Asiatic Society of Bengal to encourage Oriental studies. The Asiatic Society, founded in 1784, is the oldest institution of learning in science and humanities in India today. Some institutions reflect history and some contribute to it. But the Asiatic Society has reflected history and has contributed to it by retrieving, restoring, preserving and studying the ancient remains and thus revealing the country's past. Through its work, the Society has revealed the cultural and intellectual achievements of India to the rest of the world.
Actually, the story of the genesis of Asiatic Society, the Asian dream of Sir William Jones while he was travelling from London to here in India as a puisne judge of the then Calcutta Supreme Court, and he drafted the memorandum. The memorandum was actually drafted for a long time, but it was like a piece of verse when deliberated as the first president of the Asiatic Society. So that was in the first deliberation, and there he almost depicted everything. The objective of the Asiatic Society, as we all know, he said, if I be asked that what should be our intended actual area of inquiry, we say man and nature, whatever is performed by the one or produced by the other within the geographical limits of Asia. Now, I think it means everything. And actually he started with almost everything. Why? And after the first presidential address, within 2 years, he deliberated in 1786 in his 3rd presidential address. He introduced the subject of comparative literature. And comparative literature now, as we all know, that it has become important discipline in all over the world, actually founded in Calcutta in 1786. In his third deliberation he did it, and after that he wrote another piece on the Hindustani game of chess. And again he was just at that moment he was translating from the basic texts of Sanskrit and Persian the theory of jurisprudence in India. After the Royal Society was founded, thereafter it was also the product of the liberalism, of the revivalism, and post-Renaissance and post-liberalism Europe. And after that, that was the design of Royal Society, was the mother design of foundation of Asiatic Society.
The Society has been collecting specimens, art objects and artifacts since 1796. On 2nd February 1814, the Society decided to set up a museum and appointed Dr. Nathaniel Wallich superintendent of the Museum of the Asiatic Society. He was in charge of the geological and zoological specimens. Through his untiring efforts, the collections multiplied, and when it became an unmanageable burden to properly display the objects for the education of the common men, it was decided in 1868 that the specimens and artifacts should be transferred to the trustees of the Indian Museum. This was done in 1875 when the building of the Indian Museum was completed. The Asiatic Society, Calcutta, was also the model for all other Asiatic societies of the world, including the Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain and Ireland, which was established in 1823. A large number of important national institutions grew up between 1785 and 1860, and the Asiatic Society either directly or indirectly inspired their growth.
The Asiatic Society now do have a possession of almost 60,000 manuscripts of different languages in different materials. I mean, from Bhurjapatra to tin to the xylographs and everything, and in so many, almost 23 languages. And we find them, and starting from 7th century AD manuscript, Kubjika Matam, that is a Tantra manuscript, and obviously the life and family of Genghis Khan, Aini Akbari, Rubaiyat Umar Khayyam, and whatnot, everything almost. And we also started the publication, the Asia's most important publication house and the oldest perhaps, who is continuing its publication since 1788.
This is St. Xavier's, Kolkata, an institution well known for its academic excellence and co-curricular activities. St. Xavier's, Kolkata has a rich cultural heritage and is presently celebrating its 150th year.
In these 150 years, this institution, both school and college, have served not only this city of joy, but also this country. Thousands of students have passed through the portals of St. Xavier's. I can name a few. Rabindranath Tagore was a student of this school. Jagadish Chandra Bose was a student of this college. Why, even Jyoti Basu was a student of this institution. Siddhartha Shankar Ray was a student of this institution. And I think more than a dozen actors of Bengal were students of this institution. The present Vice President, Ansari, is also a student of this institution. Take in the field of industrialists, Ellen Mittal was a student of this college, and Kingfisher's chairman, Vijay Mallya, was a student of this institution. So we have a long list of ex-students, alumni and alumnae who have passed out from these institutions in all fields. Cathars Library, it's now a century-old library. Now, most of the books in the Cathars Library were books collected by Archbishop Paul Cathars, the first Archbishop of Kolkata. Now, before his death, he gave all the books to the Jesuit fathers of St. Xavier's and asked them to keep these books separately in his memory as a separate library. And most of these books are very precious books. They are old books, some of them 200 years old, some 300 years, some 500 years. So we have some very rare books in the country. We also have plates. We also have in our collection some daggers and curios. So this is in fact archives. This library of course is housed on the second floor of St. Xavier's College building. Though it is a separate library by itself, it belongs to the Jesuit fathers of this community of St. Xavier's College. So this library is first of all is open to our own teachers and our own students. And this being a century-old library and with such rare books, our students and our staff members regularly come and refer these books.
St. Xavier's College, Calcutta was founded on 16th January 1860 by the Jesuits under the leadership of Father Depelchin. Since its inception, the Jesuits have specialized in the field of education, among other things, and were even called the school masters of Europe at one time. The college campus is located at 30 Park Street, Kolkata, where the Sans Souci Theatre was previously located. The theatre was burnt in an accident, and the Jesuits were handed the premises to start the college by the then Bishop of Calcutta.
St. Xavier's College did not start at St. Xavier's College. It was a Latin word, collegium. Collegium meant a school, college, is an educational institution. When we started, there were 83 boys. On 16th January 1860, there were 83 boys, and they were admitted to 3 different classes. Gradually it grew. As you know, it started in this Sans Souci theatre, which was burnt down. It was remodeled. The fathers were living in different areas in this campus, and then the Sans Souci was remodeled. Even the college, when the college and school came into being, they felt already in 1880s, they felt the lack of space. They felt that both the school and college cannot exist here together. Therefore, a decision was taken to move the college from here to Beaubazar. They went to Beaubazar. The college section was shifted to Beaubazar, and then they started also a school, the Latin school there. That was not sufficient. They were not happy there. Therefore, they returned to St. Xavier's, the present place, in 1885. So the Silver Jubilee was celebrated back here in 30 Park Street. They were also looking out for other places. Finally, everything came to be together here in St. Xavier's. with restructuring the space and everything, now both school and college are functioning here. From 83 students in 1860, the number has gone up to over 5,700 today.
So since we are celebrating 150 years this year, we are bringing all our alumni, that is old Xaverians, together as one family. We have now started our chapters in Singapore, Bangkok, Dubai. These are the chapters outside. We are going to start chapters in New York and in London. We have chapters within India in Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi. Now these chapters bring Xaverians together. Number one is to revive the spirit of Xavier's. You know, the motto of Xavier's is nihil ultra, nothing beyond. So we want to revive that Xaverian spirit. That's number one. Number two, of course, this institution cannot remain what it was before. It has to expand. So space-wise, we are trying to get more space so that we can have a second campus, a third campus of St. Xavier's. University is asking us to start more postgraduate courses. We have to, in another year or two, start at least 3, 4, 5 postgraduate courses. We cannot remain just in an undergraduate, postgraduate college. We have to start also research. We should start offering MPhil courses. We should start offering even PhD courses. So this is what is our aim.